Hey everybody. I had a less than great day today, and it reminded me of a tweet I saw yesterday from Andy Rutledge that said, "Clients from hell is just another way of saying designers from Idiotsville. Your clients are your fault." I couldn't agree more with what Andy said, but I think it goes deeper than that. I think 99% of the clients that come through the door are good, and we turn the relationships bad, and then we just call it bad clients because that's easier for us than addressing the situation and addressing the relationship. I sat down and came up with what I think are 5 steps to maintaining a healthy client relationship. And I think if you do this, it's going to be just great for everyone. I hope it's going to be great for us because I intend to keep doing it. First, be honest and nice. These are not opposites. You can be very nice while you're saying, that's not going to work, and here's why. Or while you're saying, that's a great idea, but it is going to cost more. And this is just so important, to be honest and nice from the beginning. A lot of times when you're trying to get business, if you're a freelancer or if you own the company, you have to really be in touch with where you are. Do you not have a lot of work coming in? Because you may be a little more aggressive in getting somebody to come in the door. Anything that you say at the beginning of a relationship that's not honest, no matter how nice it may be, you're going to have to follow through on. So make sure in those initial dates with the prospects, you don't promise something that's not possible or imply something that then when they're in the door they expect. I think also you have to explain openly the entire process. You have to explain where the pitfalls are. You have to say, a lot of times after design's approved, clients try to go back once we're in production. And that can cost a lot of money. That can take a lot of time. As I mentioned before, we put that in our proposal. So make sure that you're doing that. And at the same time, being honest and being nice can make them feel important. You're taking the time to explain to them the way that things work. And that's really critical. And even though you may tell them their idea is not a good one, you can say it in such a way so they don't feel like you're condescending or you're talking down to them. You can say, I wish it did work that way, but unfortunately it doesn't. Here's the things we can do. So number 1, be honest and be nice. Number 2, if you get the project, if you get them in the door, make sure that you start with a clean slate. Don't bring them in and then start looking for trouble. Don't sit there and go, they remind me of this project, and then sit there looking so that you can go, aha, I knew this project was going to suck. I knew this client was going to suck. That's just totally unfair. It's the same thing that happens in other relationships. When a new client comes in, let them be a new client and treat them with respect and talk to them as though it's their first time there, because it is. When we wrote our client guide, it was because we knew certain things were going wrong every time. And when you hit 100 projects and something goes wrong every time, and it's generally a different client, you start to realize you're the constant. So own it. Don't look for trouble. Let that client be okay. Because otherwise what you'll do is just create a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you start spreading negativity through the company because people start to think, oh God, here comes that client. And that client feels it. And when they do, they start to get nervous. So clean slate. Also, keep your commitments. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Now, one of the things that I see happen again and again is we overcommit. And then when we overcommit, it seems like we blame the client. When we could say, hey, you know what? Let me check with the team. I can get them in a couple of days and get back to you next week with an answer on that. It's probably okay. The client's probably like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But if you say, you know what, I'll get back to you tomorrow, and there's no need to get back to them tomorrow, there's no urgency, but you say that, don't be upset with the client when they expect you to tell them tomorrow. You said it. So be okay with that. Or simply don't overcommit. Normally clients don't expect you to. They don't really know what it takes to do what we do. So if we explain it to them and we're honest about it, they'll be cool. If you do get in a situation where you need more time, renegotiate. Just call the client and say, hey, you know what? I know we were going to look at this in a couple of days, but the reality is we need more time. We want to research it more. We want to make sure we're giving you the best option. Is that cool? Most clients are going to say that's cool unless they've committed to something, at which point they'll try to recommit. So just make sure that you know if something's going to be difficult, you have the option to renegotiate. Another thing, and I mentioned it earlier, is if you're not sure what to do, say that. If a client says, hey, can we add this extra feature to the store, and you're not sure, don't say, yes, this is a bad thing. What you say instead is, you know what, I'm not sure, let me check with the team. And if you're the person who's supposed to do it, or if you're a freelancer, just say, you know what, let me research the best solution. I have a couple of ideas, but it's been a while, so I just want to see what's new out there. This is not a bad thing. This is being a good company and a good partner to your client. The next one is address issues early. If you see a problem, talk through it with the client. Address the issues from their side. Really look at it and say, what are they trying to accomplish? And ask them, what is it you're trying to accomplish? And then you'll find out there may be another solution. It may be that they ask for a specific thing, not knowing the alternatives. So make sure you really dig in and understand their side. Now, one issue becomes the 37 signals approach that we're all trying to follow. And the problem becomes we're only supposed to use email, we're not supposed to get on the phone, we're not supposed to sit down with people. Now, I really like that approach. And we try to limit it to 3 phone calls or meetings. But sometimes if there's a problem, I firmly believe it's best to get on the phone or to sit down face to face and look at each other. Because it's the only way you're going to be able to hear somebody's tone, you're going to be able to see their eyes, you're going to be able to feel their posture, you're going to be able to know what they're saying and what they're meaning. And normally you're going to find out they're trying to help. And the client's going to be kind of frustrated maybe, but you can say, you know, let's just figure this out. And let them know you're on their side. We had a situation where we had gotten to a point with a client where they just didn't trust us at all. And so we had them come over and sat down, and the number one item on the agenda was discuss our trust issues. And when they saw that, they laughed and they said, what trust issues? And I was like, everything we recommend, you say no, or you say you found something on the web. So we either need you to let us counsel you on what's the best thing to do, or we need to figure out how to wrap up the project. And the situation was we ended up wrapping up the project, and that was okay. They got what they needed. They felt that there were other solutions that were going to be strong for them, and they moved on. You know what? That's better than holding on to a project that doesn't want to be there anymore. Now, another thing with addressing issues early is making sure that you don't ignore the problem. Don't just go like, well, that's going to disappear, because it's not. It's just going to grow. And as soon as you ignore the problem, you end up being the problem because you didn't tell somebody about it or you didn't address it with the client. And that leads into what I think the 5th step is: constantly communicate. Silence is the enemy. If you leave a void, the client will fill it with something in their mind. They will make up something. If they don't know what's going on, they're going to be thinking that nothing is going on. We send a weekly email on Mondays. We generally respond to client emails really within a few hours. A couple of us, that's our job, is just to make sure that we're communicating. If you don't talk to the client, or if you go dark, then what happens is the client's convinced nothing's going on, and they're going to try to take control. We have a saying, which is clients don't want to drive. And they don't. They hired you because they thought you were going to be the best fit for their project. Believe it or not, clients don't give you $30,000 and then go, how can I sabotage this? How can I be overbearing? But once they've given you that money, they will get nervous if they don't know what's going on. So you have to talk with them. You have to let them know. Because if they're afraid that nobody is driving, they will take the wheel. And you can't blame them for that. You just need to ask yourself, why did that happen? And try to undo it. Now, the other thing that's important as you're talking with clients is what I like to call being a ninja versus a boxer. Now, if you're being honest and being nice, you can be honest by saying your logo sucks and we're not using that crappy logo. But you can also be a ninja, which is not necessarily being nice, but is more being sly. And you can say, you asked us to create this world-class feel for your website. And unfortunately, we feel that your identity, specifically the logo, is kind of holding us back. Is there anything we could do to refresh that logo to make it a little more in line with where you say you want to take the company? Now, it takes a lot longer, but it's not, your logo sucks, and they won't feel defensive. So a lot of times clients will go, yeah, I totally agree, I don't know what we can do. At the very least, you address it. Now again, I would say if you run into a problem like the logo, address it up front. Anyway, I think that wraps it up. So be honest and nice. Have a clean slate when they come in. Don't pass judgment based on other things. Keep your commitments, address issues early, and constantly communicate. Now, if you do these things, you should have much better client relationships. If you find that you don't, ask yourself, are they really the client from hell, or are we being the company from hell? Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you guys soon.